Now, the last game that I want to talk about, we have Rutgers going on the road to take on Michigan. Now, Michigan enters this game as a 19-point favorite. This game is going to be played 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. So I'm going to be watching this game probably on my laptop while I watch the Arkansas and Texas A&M game on my TV. Now, Rutgers is looking really good right now. Now, I know everybody's going to be like, they haven't played nobody. They beat Temple, they beat Syracuse, and they beat Delaware. But I really feel like there's a little bit of a potential for an upset here. Now, it's going to be really tough for Rutgers. So I'm not really going to go into this game and talk about, why Michigan's going to win. I want to talk about what Rutgers needs to do to pull off the upset going on the road. I think the first thing and the most important thing for Rutgers, and Greg Schiano already touched on this, is going to be how they're going to game plan to stop the Michigan rushing attack, okay? Because Michigan has the best rushing attack in all of college football right now. They're averaging over 300 rushing yards per game. They're averaging 7 yards per attempt. You have a phenomenal group of running backs. So, I mean, if you're Rutgers, how are you going to stop it? Well, one is going to be, can you be able to win up front? Rutgers may not be able to do that. But the second way to stop the run game is by getting up to a big lead early. If Rutgers can get up to a 21-point lead going into halftime, then that kind of changes what Michigan has to do offensively. Because, yeah, you're still going to run the football, but you're still going to have to be able to throw the football a little bit more than what you would like to do. And when I look at Michigan, okay, I don't think Michigan's going to be down by 21 points at halftime. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying if Rutgers is going to be able to stop this rushing attack for Michigan, they're going to have to get out to a fast start early and force them to throw the football with McNamara. Now, you look at Michigan, I think Michigan does have some weapons at wide receiver, but Rutgers also has a pretty underrated secondary. A secondary in Rutgers that's really good at forcing turnovers. So I kind of do like to see how this matchup of the Michigan wide receivers versus the Rutgers secondary is going to play out. And I think that McNamara, I think he's a pretty solid QB for Michigan, but he hasn't really been asked to do that much. All he really has to do is throw the ball when need be and just hand the football off to these talented running backs. So if Rutgers can get Michigan into third and long situations, I think that could also play in the factor and determine if they're going to be able to win this game or not, because you're not going to run the ball if you're in a 3rd and 7 situation. So part of getting Michigan into those obvious passing situations are being able to win on 1st and 2nd down. And if Rutgers is going to be able to do that, I think that's also going to help them. They're also going to have to be able to get stops in the red zone. So let's say Michigan is able to run the football effectively on Rutgers, and Rutgers pretty much is on their heels. Well, they can have a bend but don't break philosophy. Okay, Michigan is going to hold the ball for 7 minutes, but if they're only coming away with field goals in the red zone, or if they're not coming away with anything, then that's a win for you. Even if they're able to run the football for over 200 yards on you, if you're able to hold strong in the red zone and you can come away with Michigan only kicking field goals, that's still going to be able to keep you in this game. And also, Rutgers has to be extremely efficient on offense. And also, Greg Schiano also said this as well. He says that we didn't do anything. He says that although he does have a lot of confidence in his Rutgers team, that they're not that talented that they can make up for turning over the football. So that shows you how much he values taking care of the football. And Rutgers also has a pretty good offense when it comes to ball security, and they don't really turn the football over that much. They don't really commit a lot of penalties, so they're really disciplined. So Greg Schiano, one of his biggest talking points going into this game was being able to take care of the football. And he also has said that this team is talented, but it's not talented enough to overcome not taking care of the football. And you also don't want to give any extra possessions to a Michigan football team that's just a ground and pound monster that just wants to grind you, because then if you end up giving this Michigan team extra possessions, they're going to end up having the ball for pretty much half the quarter. So if you're Rutgers, you got to make the most out of the offensive possessions that you're going to have, because you could get the ball to start the first quarter, and let's say you go 3 and out. Okay, so let's say Rutgers goes 3 and out. and Michigan gets the ball with 13 minutes in the first quarter. You may not get the ball back until 3 or 4 minutes left in the first quarter. And you may not even see the ball until, like the second quarter maybe, with how efficient this rushing attack is. So for Rutgers, you have to be really efficient on offense. You have to make the most out of every single possession you have. You can't afford turnovers, and you can't afford to have drives when you're not at least moving the ball down the field and putting points on the board. Now, they're also going to need to force some turnovers because, let's be honest, you're not going to be able to pull off this upset unless you have a little bit of luck go your way, which also means some penalties on Michigan's behalf, but you're also going to have to force some turnovers. You're going to have to give the ball back to your offense, and you're going to have to make some extra possessions. You're also going to have to force Michigan to come away empty, and that's a big con when you have a great ground and pound offense. When you have a great ground and pound offense, yes, you do take a lot of time off the clock, but also if you're not doing anything and you're having the ball for 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and you're taking a lot of time off the clock and you're not doing anything with it, that's pretty much a drive wasted because you took all this time off the clock and yet you didn't do anything with it. So for Rutgers, if they're able to force at least 2 turnovers, that's going to be extremely big in this game because Rutgers' offense is going to need some help. Like, Rutgers has some playmakers. You have a really good running back in Pacheco. You also do have a very good wide receiver in Bo Milton. Verdell is also a pretty solid QB, but Michigan has one of the best defenses in college football, and the big reason for that is because this defense doesn't really have to be on the field for all that long. When you have an offense that's just so great at running the football, taking time off the clock, you can just sit there on the defense and you can just sip on your Gatorade. So for Rutgers, this offense has some talent. You do have some playmakers, but they're going to need some help and they're going to need some assistance. And that also is probably going to include winning the field position battle, making sure that you're able to execute on special teams, and that maybe you can get a couple of big returns in that sets your offense up with a short field, okay? So for Michigan, really all they just really need to do is to take care of the football, establish the run game, doing what they've been doing, and not have a lot of costly penalties, and they pretty much should win this game. So I'm rolling with Michigan to pull off the win. I'm hoping that Rutgers can pull off the upset because I'm somebody who loves chaos. I want to see the most wackiest college football season we've ever had. I want to see an upset taking place every single week. But Michigan does have a huge advantage when it comes to the talent up front on both sides of the football. That's going to be a factor. And also for Rutgers, they haven't really been tested yet. This is their first true test right here, going on the road in a hostile environment in Michigan. So I'm rooting for Rutgers to get the victory, but I'm going to take Michigan to pull off the win, 31-17. I think Rutgers is going to put some points up on the board. I think they may be able to get a turnover or two, but overall, I just feel like Michigan is going to be able to get the victory here. But imagine if Michigan loses this game, then oh my God. A lot of the Harbaugh fans are going to be coming out, and the Harbaugh critics have been pretty quiet so far. But man, if they lose this game to Rutgers, then oh my goodness. And imagine if Rutgers wins this game. This would be a huge win for Rutgers. As a matter of fact, this would be one of the biggest wins that this program has had in a very long time. And Rutgers has done a pretty good job on the recruiting trail so far. So for Rutgers, if they get this win here, this would be a huge win, not only for this program, but also for the recruiting momentum as well. Because now Greg Schiano can say, hey man, the rebuild is going perfectly, man. Come on and be a part of it because we can really do some things. So I really feel like there is a bigger chance of an upset happening in this game than what a lot of people are giving it credit for. But overall, I just feel like it's really hard to bet against that Michigan football team, against a Rutgers team that I don't really know just how good they are up front. Okay, and I think that Michigan is just going to be the way more physically dominant team in the trenches. So I'm going to take Michigan to get the win, but I'm hoping that Rutgers can pull off the upset. You guys let me know who you guys have winning this game down in the comment section down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Do you think that Rutgers can keep this game competitive? If Rutgers can get this game if Rutgers can go into the fourth quarter down a touchdown or down 3 points, then I think that's a moral victory there, because then anything can happen at this point. So for Rutgers, can you keep this game close? Rutgers cannot allow themselves to be down more than 10 points at any part of this game.